Welcome. We are on day 11 notes of Algebra 2. Here we go, writing equations of lines. Writing equations of lines. Our main equation again that we're going off of is slope-intercept form. There it is, y equals mx plus b. Let's label the main pieces again. M is our slope, or we can think about that as rate of change. And sometimes when we graph this, it's a little bit easier to think about it as rise over run. The b value, the one at the end of the equation, is our y-intercept. Or sometimes you might hear your teacher call it the start point for your graph. All right, remember on day 10 we practiced rewriting equations into slope-intercept form by solving for y. Today, the instructions want us to write the equation of the line. Okay, leave your final answer in slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form looks like y equals mx plus b. Okay, we're going to be given some random pieces of information, and with these random pieces of information, we're going to write into our slope-intercept form. The first problem, write the equation of the line that has a slope of negative 2, 3 and a y-intercept of -7. So my main key pieces of information is that they give me the slope. So m is equal to -2 over 3. And they also give me the y-intercept. That is what we call b. Okay, so if you go ahead and just kind of label those and fill them in, underline them, whatever is best for you. From here, I know that my slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, so I'm going to jot that down. And in the spot for m, I'm going to replace it with -2 over 3, and then I'm going to write my x. And in the spot for b, I'm going to write -7. Okay, that's all they mean by write the equation of the line. They gave us the slope, they gave us the y-intercept, and we filled it in, substituted in. So there's our final answer equation of the line. Problem 2. Write the equation of the line that passes through the point -4, 1 and has a rate of change of -2. Alright, let's label a couple things here before we get started. They gave us a point. Remember, coordinates are always x, y. Also, they told us that the rate of change, which is just another word for slope, is equal to -2. So our slope is equal to -2. Alright, a little bit different pieces of information, but that's okay. I want to remember that I'm working with y equals mx plus b. I know a couple different pieces of information. I know an x, I know a y, and I know an m. That's my slope. I'm going to substitute in all those values and see what I have. Y, I have 1. M is -2. X is -4. And I know nothing about B. B is kind of my unknown. But that's okay. I'm going to take a second here and solve for B. I'm going to go ahead and multiply -2 times -4, and I get +8. Now I want to subtract 8 to both sides, and I end up getting that b is equal to -7. b is equal to -7, and I'm going to circle that because that's very important to me. b is equal to -7. I knew m. Now I found out what b is, so I'm going to write those into my equation. So I have y equals -2x minus 7. This right here used to be an m, and this right here used to be a b. And there is my equation. Problem 3. Write the equation of the line that passes through the point -4, 2 and the other point 12, -6. So let's label these pieces of information. I have 2 different points that they gave me. Okay, I'm going to label the first one as x, y. And I'm going to label, maybe I'm going to do x1, y1. And I'm going to label my blue one x2, y2. Something to remember is slope the slope equation, or how we find slope. Okay, I'm going to write that over here on the right hand, or on the left hand side. The slope is equal to y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. And then we just have to plug in. So I'm going to have 2 plus 6 over negative 4 minus 12. Add the top, I have 8. On the bottom, I have negative 16. I reduce that fraction, I have negative 1/2. This is my slope. So I'm going to circle that because that's important to us. M is very important to us. From here, I know I want it to look like y equals mx plus b. But at this point, I only found my m value. I don't know my b value. I'm going to have to figure that out. Okay, so keep in mind what we knew in the very beginning, this green coordinate up here. I know an x and I know a y. So I'm going to plug that in. Y was 2, m is negative 1/2, x is negative 4, and then I have plus b. So at this time I'm going to solve for b. Okay? I'm going to do my multiplication first. Negative 1/2 times negative 4 is a positive 2. And then I want to subtract 2 over, and I'm left with b is equal to 0. And I'm going to circle that because that's also an important piece of information. Now remember, I want it to look like y equals m, which is negative 1/2, x plus b, and b is 0. So you can either leave it like that, or it'd also be great if you rewrote this as y equals negative 1/2 x. Either one of those, they mean the exact same thing. You don't necessarily need that plus 0 at the end. Okay, so problem 3 had many steps. Okay, we kind of had to start by getting the slope. We used that to get the b, and then we plugged in for our very final answer. Flip it over. Problem 4. Write the equation of the line. Leave your final answer in slope-intercept form. It says, write the equation of the line that has an x-intercept of 2 and a y-intercept of 6. And then it gives you a little hint. It says, write what the x and y-intercept are as points. So what this means is it tells you the x-intercept is 2. Writing that as a point, this means 2, 0. Okay, that is an x-intercept. And from here, just like before, I'm going to label that x1, y1. My other key piece of information they gave me is the y-intercept. Okay, that I can rewrite as 0, 6. 0, 6. From here, I'm going to label that x2, y2. And just like the previous problem, I'm going to use those to get my slope. So m equals 0 minus 6 over 2 minus 0. On the top, I have negative 6. On the bottom, I have 2. Go ahead and divide those, and I get m, my slope, is equal to negative 3. Again, I'm going to use that. It's very helpful to me. Keep in mind, I want this all to end up looking like y equals mx plus b. I don't know enough information at this point, okay? I just figured out m. I don't know b. I want to find b. I'm going to use one of these points to help me do that. So this is x, and right here I have y. So I'm going to plug in. I have 0 equals 2 times negative 3 plus b. Do my multiplication. 0 equals negative 6 plus b. I add the 6 over, and I'm left with b is equal to 6. That's going to be very useful to me. When I write my final answer, I want it to look like slope-intercept form. I have y equals m, which is negative 3x, plus b, which is positive 6. And there's my final answer. Again, several steps. First step is to, well, for this one, first step is to write these as points. Then I use those points to get my slope. From here, I used a couple different pieces to help me find my b value. Then I knew m and I knew b, so I substituted those into my equation. Problem 5. Write the equation of the line that passes through the point -5, -2, -5, -2, and -5, 7. Let's label these pieces so they're both important to us. I have x1 and y1, x2, y2. Okay, I'm going to use those and get my slope. That's kind of the first thing we've been doing with that. So I have -2 minus 7, -5 plus 5. Those two negatives make a positive. On the top, I have -9 over 0. If you remember, if you ever have 0 in the denominator like this is no good. If you type it in your calculator, you're going to get an error. This is undefined. Okay, so at this point, maybe you notice right from the beginning that both of my x values were the same. They were both equal to -5. And this is kind of a telling us something, so that my final answer is x equals -5. Okay, and also another factor that's telling us this is because the slope is undefined. Right below it, let's remember these two main pieces of information. The first one, the slope of a vertical line. Remember, vertical would be up and down, so something that looks like that, which does look like that, okay, has a slope being undefined. Okay, so it looks like this, the slope is undefined. So kind of two things to remember. Then, the slope of a horizontal line, which looks like this, there we go, also important, has a slope of 0. So again, that's my m. Remember, if I went too fast at any point or anything confused you, please rewind and then go ahead and start at the spot that you need.